that was pretty Peter asking me how do you do that in a horizontal movement. But so even though I'm driving energy out here, what's ultimately racing my going out there is my structure connected to the earth. So when I can kind of connect with that, so I think I have this sort of weird way of looking at form. I don't see form anymore as, oh, that guy, gal's got a knee over the toe and that all looks really pretty in all the right position. I think form is this internal line inside your shape that's sort of actuating when you're doing any movement. So in a punch, for instance, when I make contact with my fist, I'm squeezing, like just in the shape of my fist, the form of my fist. It's not a shape, it's an occurrence. In other words, I squeeze between my first two knuckles for a second. Like that feeling, that feeling. If I was making tetsui, it would be a totally different feeling. I mean, just do that with your hand. I just put a blob of peanut butter in your hand. How would you squeeze it between your first two knuckles? And I would argue you just made seiken by squeezing it between the first two knuckles. If you wanted to push it out the bottom of your hand, you just made tetsui. If I wanted to push it out the back of my hand, I just made a uriken. That feels totally different than that to me. Are you following that? Now extrapolate that idea to your whole body. If I'm making a punch, boom, my punch is really this occurrence. It's not the shape, it's this thing that's happening inside my shape. That's my form. So when I'm pushing out, I'm dropping my shoulder and I'm actually kind of engaging these muscles back here to kind of push. So I'm not just going tight, I'm going tighten in, tighten in, tighten in. Think about it. If you were up against the wall right here and you had to push that wall back, you got to go in. Like you got to shore up everything so whatever energy I'm generating, it's all going that way. It's not rebounding that way. You follow? So I got that going on with my squeezing peanut butter. Then I've got this leg pushing and this glute tightening because this glute is pushing the front of my hip and the front of my hip is pushing the back of my elbow. So the form of Gyakuzuki is that occurrence right there. You don't see it because it's just that feeling. But in my body, I'm going kakunk. I feel my karate is way different now than it was 3 years ago. And I'm hoping 3 years from now it's going to be way different. So there are no people on their path. But what I would say is, Satomi Sensei said, capture the image. So if you see something and you're struggling with it, just take a mental snapshot. Like picture I'm guessing y'all can sort of see what I'm talking about there, right? Like you can see that, like connect. See that, and now put that in your subconscious mind. Take a mental snapshot, and next time, without realizing it or not, your body is going to be gravitating towards doing that. Do you follow that? Yes. Okay. I mean, that is the thing. I suppose you could just come in and execute your training or watching it. But to sort of make it deceptive, what we're going to do is we're going to make a Kizamazuki and a punch. Jodan, so we go 1, 2, and I'm going to have my kick come right behind this punch so that my leg visually for him is a little hidden by my arm. So I'm going to go and hit him like that. So I'm going to go and hit him like that. So my kick is actually right behind my arm. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not doing this. I'm not going 1, 2, and then making mawashi geri. I'm letting this kind of be happening as I'm kicking. It kind of wraps around behind. Wow. Boom. Yeah, give that a try easy with your body. So, like we were talking about in sort of boxing, like if I'm doing a jab and cross, they're kind of right behind each other. That's the feeling. So a little bit that feeling. So be careful you don't go 1, 2, and then try to make a mawashi geri. Let it be like, it follows the kick or the punch. I'm going, okay? And I'm kind of almost hitting behind it. So my arm is sort of hiding my foot. They're like right together like that. Even if you go low in that time. But it's better high. Okay, yeah, give it a try. There's a guy named Poirier and a guy named Gaethje, and one guy knocked him out with this exact technique that I've been teaching in karate for years. Yeah, so, and then if you want to add another element to it, so it's awesome to have a fairly okay mawashi geri, but you have to kind of set it up. So this idea of kind of leading into it with a setup that works. then there's other things you can do too. So if I drift this way to kick, what would be your inclination? If I'm going this way, it's going to go that way. You follow what I'm saying? Now I do that same thing and he sort of goes into my kick. You see how that works? So you're kind of playing a game of chess on how your technique arrives. Like you're going to get the person to kind of walk into that thing they kick you're fighting. So that's the feeling. So I'm making just a little drift and then my mawashi geri. Yeah, try that. Okay? Yep. In our want to, in our desire, in our ambition, we tend to try really hard and it infects us, okay? So being natural, and I think this is part of like Funakashi's saying, you know, along the lines of, you know, deep stances or for up to maybe need a more natural kamae or after that, is you want to move, there should be a movement towards naturalness. So harboring any unnecessary tension is probably not a good thing. And definitely going to keep, if you're thinking about your body, in a way you could sort of perceive your body as a conduit that you're channeling energy through. That sounds very woo-woo, but that's absolutely what I feel when I do my karate. And anything that starts to impede that, I identify it. And things like tension is definitely something that impedes with that. Things like holding my breath definitely impedes with that. That feeling. Now I'm using just the back of my hand, but you see it's way different. It's like I'm pulling this rope with my stance in my center, like my puppet master now is under the floor. And I'm the marionette. He's yanking from below. There's my hip now. And then if I make that strong, that's going to be. You see the difference? It's definitely not. Okay? So that relaxed heaviness, I think, is in everything. It certainly is in a movement that requires, because that's the only way you're getting power there. But in a gyakutsuki, at the end of your punch, it's also there, right there, right there. So many times you watch people, they just kind of punch. What you want to at the end, right? Connect. Feel the reason. Okay, so pick a technique, any technique, and you know it can be from your teki kata, you know, whatever, and just feel how does that relaxedness and that heaviness contribute to my motion.